Hello friends and welcome to another commentary video. This time we're talking about Cinderbrew Meadery, which I just call brewery for some reason, even though that's not the name of the dungeon, but whatever. I do not like this dungeon. I think it's pretty finicky and there's a lot of potential to get one shot and have some trauma about tanks dying here. But well, let's go through it and you'll see what I did and maybe that helps you. This was a 19 post item level buff or whatever you want to call it. So it's basically as difficult as an 18. Well, depending on how you want to see it, I think the damage requirement got easier with the item level buff, but the healing got a little bit harder, in my opinion, because you're not doing 10% more healing, but you can squeeze out 10% more damage more easily. So what I do in this first pull is we pull two of the muscles and they apply a nasty dot. And I want to pause you for a second. Sometimes you see that groups pull three muscles. I think that's a very dangerous pull and should not be done in like I mean, yeah, it should not be done in my opinion. This is like tournament realm stuff. So most of the time you see two muscles being pulled and there's different approaches on how to heal this. So in my opinion you should place a barrier on the first dots simply because the DK really doesn't want to place his AMZ in cooldowns. That's something they will cry about if you ask him to AMZ on anything first during a last pull or whatever. I'm also using Shadowfiend and Insight here, which you don't have to do. There's also a Vigil running with Lust and cooldown, so technically you might not need anything. And there's another school of thought here, which is to use Insight on Dispelling, which technically with a DK and a Mage, if you play with one you don't need. But, well, that's just how I'm playing it basically. But as you can see, there's a lot of like debuffs happening, and it's actually very dangerous. This debuff ticks for a ton, and I'm also doing a bad job at not. I should be pressing Fade here, and it's also a good spot to master spell pretty early and so on. But it's all happening so quickly, as you can see. Like if I run it back, like over the course of a second, basically I dropped to almost dead, even though I have a huge shield, right? So as soon as the second dot hits, like I'm almost dying. And I pop my piety here with a with a evangelism, sort of like a group lay on hands, which is a combo you will see me use frequently in general. I think it's a really good combo. This is also a good opportunity to use uppies with piety, but then you need to be aware of your timing. Press it a little bit early into the dot, not like as the dot happens and everybody is already dying. Okay, this mini boss here, Chewy. The AoE does a lot of damage on this key level. It like barely doesn't one-shot you even if you do nothing. You will see me shield at least the Moonkin here, and I think the Shaman as well. Shaman is actually more in danger. But, well, they both easily survive even without a shield. But if you ever do this key on like a 21, obviously you will know about using shields there. You don't need my video um, for you to realize that, right? But if you do like a 15 or something, you just realize that this mob hurts and you want to shield people for it. Also, this is like a classic pull where people farm their cooldowns back. You can see the Druid is not using his Incarn there. But my DK did use his cooldown. Oh yeah, and you see what happens if I don't shield myself. Like I'm almost dying on a 19. Might have even died with out of flash LDR. And again, like since I'm playing with a shaman, I'm just shielding him and druid first before myself because I have a lot of avoidance. Okay, I do something weird here. So we're going into this pull with the next muscle, and I should be dispelling here, but I instead opt to. Oh no, I have piety. Oh, that's clairvoyance. I'm stupid. Yeah, so I just spam heal penance on him, so the redistribution of the overheal just heals the group. And of course, I don't want to dispel there, because then I would lose an inside charge. Sometimes that's worth it to lose an inside charge for a dispel, but the only dungeon I can think of where I do this is like Mechagon. Okay, dispels. Very dangerous. Well, you know what part of it is dangerous, the dot, of course, and I'm clicking a mana potion, of course. Okay, so you see the dot flying out, and first thing, I want to go back. You can see where this dot is flying to, like, so I like to stand a little bit further out, just to have some knowledge about who it's gonna hit. I don't know if you should be doing this, but I like doing this because I think it just makes it more apparent that I'm getting it. And then in that second, I can think about what to do. I actually think it's smart. I don't know. I don't know anybody who's doing it. Maybe everyone is doing it. I'm just not watching them. But well, I like doing it that way. So I know that I have it now, and my druid has it. My druid doesn't have any cooldowns. I have everything. I even have 2 paint subs. I could be paint subbing here. But as you saw, I also have Insight ready here, so I think I will just opt to spam penance here. On a higher key level, I might be spending a paint sub here, I think. Because as you saw, this hurts a lot. Next dot, flying to the Boomkin again. And the DK immune did. But he has Bark Skin up, so... And the way I like to heal this is... Well, you spend a... Well, first of all, I like to pre-shield myself, which is pretty important. Because that means if I get it, I know that I'm gonna be safe, at least for 1-2 seconds. Or like 2 dot ticks, basically. And then what I do is press a Radiance into a fat penance and a shield. Like this is the normal rotation. And as so often, you see me be kind of stingy with my own defensive. Like I could paint up myself here, but I know that I don't need it because I have... You have to develop an eye for that. Like, is this next tick gonna kill you? Or can you live it without needing to spend anything? The... Yeah, the danger of doing that too much is that you keep underusing your stuff when it would make it much easier for you to just be a little bit more aggressive with your defensives, like here. But I just know that I live because I only have one target to heal, so I know I don't have to paint up myself here. The other coin of this is paint supping everyone on every ability and then not having it when you actually need it. So there's a kind of balance that you have to strike. And here I will spend my solace to DR myself instead of using a paint sub, for example. Also very dangerous that there's dots going out, so I have to spend globals while preparing for the next dots. And here again, like this in a 21, this would have killed me maybe. But I just know a little bit here on a 19. Yeah, that's basically the whole fight. I'm not sure if I spent this clairvoyance here. Let's see. I probably don't. Ooh, I'm not sure if the decay. That's a close one. Did you see that? Like here. I think I should have spent it here because I'm pretty sure it's health potting here or death striking. I'm not sure. I should be seeing health pots actually. I don't know why I'm why I don't see that. But either way, I'm tending to him because I see he's low, right? And in my head, like this next dot tick here kills him, but he's a DK, so it won't. And he's doing something. He's either pressing Death Drag or Health Pot. And well, because he does that, my penance goes to him, and my shield has a little bit of an awkward CD, but I can still cast a spell here. And I need to shield myself as soon as this cast here is over. And very dangerous situation, because if I had less haste here, I would not get the Flash Heal shield off and would die. And this has happened to me before, like where I was just a little bit too slow doing that. But this is very greedy what I'm doing here. As you can see, I'm not spending any pain subs here. This is certainly not the gameplay you should be doing on a 21 or a 20, for example. A 19 it's fine, and also I know I have, I don't know. I'm just greeting it basically. But you know I could fence up myself here. And also something to note, when the guy is throwing his dot at you, do not, under any circumstance, stand in the zone to greet a cast. This will immediately one-shot you. Together with one dot tick. Like, you cannot do this. Just move out. Move out immediately and then start healing. So this is like good. Yeah, maybe you can. No, just move out and then start casting your radiance and into penance and shield and stuff. Do not stand in this. This will kill you. And I have died to this like multiple times actually. And as you can see, I'm really greeting this clairvoyance because I really want to have it for this next pull. And yeah, I think the correct play is to just go through another rotation of clairvoyance, insight, piety, and so on. So because now the druid had to use his renewal, which has a short CD to be fair, but he might have wanted it for this pull. But also having clairvoyance and another insight charge for this pull is also very valuable. So we go to the B quarter here. And the mob to watch here is this AoE guy here. I don't know which one it is. Well, there's a mob in here that does a scripted AoE, and you ever only pull one of them. So again, as like in the first pull, I immediately place a barrier there so the DK doesn't have to do it. And also this Wrangler here that is gray for some reason. This should have, I don't know, this should be another color. So I actually know that he. Actually, I'm not sure because, well, you do see it when he casts his ability, so I don't really need a color to indicate that the mob's still alive. Whatever. You can fear it, and in my opinion, you should be aggressive with your fear here to interrupt this Wrangler, especially when there's an AoE going off. Not the one that you kick, because that one just one-shots you, but the one that you cannot interrupt. And you can also meld it. Like, I melded the first one, and the druid just tanked it in bear. And I'm not, I didn't press Fade or Flash Heal DR here, not good gameplay. So this is a really nasty pull, and every pull in this quarter is very nasty in my opinion. Because not only can the tank die, but also, well, you can die pretty easily, and, well, every DPS basically, and there's a lot of area denial as well. So be careful when you do this pack. What is? Oh yeah, I'm missing my Mindsooth here, so I'm pinging. So I have a choice to make here. I'm sitting on 2 inside charges, but I also know that the next pull is the Shaman dies from aggro. But I also know that the next pull is gonna be the last pull, where I really want to have everything available. So I'm not sure if I use my insight here. It would be a good insight to use since I use Shadow Fiend. And Shadow Fiend Insight is also just a good combo to do a little bit more DPS. Oh, and I will die here. I don't know if you saw it, but the things went off, the barrels. You can lost them. And I could have also survived it with a dev CD, but I just wasn't focused on it. So it just died. Which I guess, I mean, it's bad, but at least it's only me dying and I can just walk back. And I check my dev log because I wasn't even realizing what happened. So far so good. Two deaths already here on this pull, right? So this whole second boss area and third boss area, depending on how you want to see it, are very dangerous, very frequent opportunities to get one shot by, or basically two shot by two abilities going off at the same time, like something that you have to kick or could stop, and a scripted AoE like the barrel charge. Here you do the skip that you might have already seen. He cages one and then pulls the two gobos and he melts, hopefully not proccing in the process. Oh, here it's important. If you don't pull, like obviously you want to heal him up here. Do not penance. I'm not sure if it since we're not in combat, I'm not sure if it would jump, but don't test it because I actually think it will jump. Your twin side bolt will cleave one of these mobs and then you pull them. Not good. Don't do this. Just flash heal them. Yeah, it takes a bit of time, obviously, but whatever. And then you just walk over, turn the corner, and then we pull a lot of these testers. He calls for paint sub immediately. And as you can see, a lot of brew spawning here, and these samples that the testers cost, here the free samples that you can see on my grid, do a lot of damage. So to be prepared for this potential overlap, you want to shield people, maybe place a barrier, have dev cities up and so on. But we're in last in CDs and they do a good job of dealing with it. There's some tech with the charges that you can do. I've seen it in TGP. Well, first of all, you can meld it and then just, well, if you meld it, you get a line on yourself and then can just walk out of it after melding. But personally, I like just melding a potential cast that goes through so I don't get one or two shot by something. And I think you can even avoid the hobgoblin damage completely. Oh yeah, I'm spending a paints up here. I think there was a cast going through or something, not sure. And a dot that I couldn't display in time. So here you will see a bunch of casts going through, right? And we don't have CDs, so this is a bit dangerous. Here again, like this guy, I'm spam flash healing him because I know he has the debuff. I cannot clear it immediately because there's more debuffs that I can dispel, but there's also the AoE going out. Very dangerous. You see frequent damage coming through that you could avoid if you played better. Oh yeah, there's a, I think a heal went through and I didn't have purge. Normally I think you shouldn't take purge in this key. I don't think there should be much cast going through. Okay, here I want to stop for a second. As you know, the boss is gonna do his dance now. And well, because I know, but I just can't tell from stopping this video here that my shaman is gonna die here. Yeah, there's a cast going through. He has a dot that I cannot dispel. It's on cooldown. And I really want to be pressing penances and shields here instead of tending to this one shaman. Like, and spoiler alert, he will die. This cast is gonna go through and not good. But for this AoE here, you want to have something up like Shadow Fiend with Insight, Piety with Uppies, or Evangelism, of course. And Naked Clairvoyance. I mean, of course, you can also just bury it, but bury is a bit awkward because you have to like dance in the barrier. So this is like my last resort mostly. I really don't like doing this pull with the boss because, as you saw, we have another dot coming through, which you cannot prevent, of course, and then also a cast going through. And now during the dance as well, like, this is so dangerous. I don't like this pull at all. There's just too much happening when the scripted AoE is already difficult enough. Like, if you ever do this pull, you have to be very aggressive with your dev CGs. And here we'll just opt to Master Spill, which in hindsight I probably didn't have to because the DK got it in me and I had a huge shield. But I just wanted to get it on CD because I know I would get one use back at least in this fight. I think. Oh, and here I basically have nothing. I'm kind of naked. Yeah. And I applied a Solace here with a Renew, as you saw on the Shaman, so he doesn't die at least. So you can heal it natty, but and you might have to like 1 or 2 times at least. Ooh, this is dangerous. See, I didn't have a shield as this dot came through, and I had to dispel the Shaman. So that was a very quick Desperate Prey use in order to survive. I could have also health potted. And here we'll probably just use Clairvoyance. Yeah, I do. And then spam some. But also, note how I didn't have Flash LDR for this one up. You should. Here again, I just build a Shaman, let the DK tank the debuff. Flash LDR is something that you kind of forget about, especially on Oracle because you have it up so frequently. But sometimes you just don't. And then you notice when it's missing, because sometimes you get randomly one-shot, which you normally would survive otherwise if you just had Flash LDR up. Here I have it up for at least the first few ticks, and you notice it immediately because my health bar is dropping a bit less. I just do a Shadow Fiend and Insight here to heal this, and it's fine. I'm not sure. I think I used no Evenge here, actually. And the second Master Spell. Very good. Also didn't use Uppies, but I don't love Uppies here because it's a bit too slow. You're too slow in Uppies when you move, and then I'm just kind of scared to drop in a puddle during the dance. And I'm not sure if it does enough healing on its own. Might be really good for tanking the AoE though. That's for sure. Okay, so here comes part 2 of this part. The tank gets a debuff that you want to dispel on cooldown, which I'm a bit slow with in this first part. And again, I bury immediately and for the first AoE and then just try to shield people that might get hit by something. Those bees, when they die, or when they're close to dying, I think they do like an ability that's called Final Sting, and similarly to these mobs in Grimbatol, it does a lot of damage, and the tank sometimes will want to tank them with a CD up. So if you just fear them, sometimes you could screw the tank over. This is like where you need voice basically for this key. It might happen here, I'm not sure. I just remember vividly that I was asked to not fear here, and here this final sting. I mean, you can't just kill them off, but sometimes you don't have enough CCs, and if you don't, the DK wants to DK DH wants to tank it, or here, see, he writes it in chat. Let it happen. So he knows he has defensives up or whatever. I'm not too familiar with DH, and he knows he will survive. The next two pulls before the boss are also kind of dangerous. I mean, it's basically the same pull 3 times in a row, right? It's always one guy that casts his AoE, then 1 or 2 guys that you have to kick, some bees, and this guy here that does this line. And as you saw, I just took it. I'm not sure, did I have a shield? I want to go back. Here. I did not have actually I had nothing on me, just flashy DR. Ooh, this is like one of these moments where I can cast a shield last second. I'm not sure if I do it. No, I'm just, oh, sorry. I'm just too slow here. Okay, I went forward a bit, but you saw what happened. I did survive, barely, and you can survive it easily with a shield and some form of DR up. But if you know you won't survive it, or if there's an AoE coming up, or it's like happening in the mid of an AoE cast, don't be afraid to just fear, even though it interrupts your whole, like, I don't know, Radiance, Penance combo that you would like to do in this situation to heal everyone up. Sometimes it's better to just hold the global for something else, in this case fear, to prevent the damage instead of healing it up. And here I have a huge shield, and I still opt to to just meld it because, well, why not? I don't need it for this boss, and no reason to take it here. Okay, this boss is a bit weird. I want to pause. As you know, well, I will pause in 10 seconds. This fluttering wing cast is what you have to watch out for, and this is what you want to be prepared for. And the way I prepare for this is just to get some shields out. As you can see, I have 3 shields out. None of them crit shields, apparently. I mean, but it's fine. Even a 4 million shield, or 3 million in this case, is enough to survive it without needing any healing. Yeah, it does about 90% of your health bar at this key level. Let's see. Let's watch together. Oh, he delays it a bit too? No, okay. Yeah. So what I like to do here is to Radiance in a way where my Radiance cast goes through as the first tick happens, and then just penance one guy, ideally one that doesn't have a shield already, and then shield someone that's about to die. I play Mechagon, the first boss, like this as well, and this is like a frequent healing combo. Shield one guy with a huge shield, then press a Radiance as the first tick of something is happening. penance another guy that doesn't have a shield, and then shield another guy. The second mechanic of this fight is the honest. I don't understand it myself really well. Well, you have these bees that you can mount, and you drive them into the barrels, right? And by that you prevent them from spawning and fucking over everyone. That's basically the gist of it. There's some intricacies to this, like for example, you cannot drive them into the lava because if you do, they respawn with a bugged aggro table or something, and I think the shaman dies here or died here 30 seconds ago because of this. And there's also this thing where you can, like here, I'm just sitting in it for no reason because I'm waiting for a spawn, but honestly I don't know when there's gonna spawn, so I'm just kind of being useless here, sitting in it and then choosing to dismount because I have to heal the AoE, right? Yeah, but what I was gonna say is you can see the position of the barrels as they spawn here, those 3 dots. Right, let's go back. Here. A little bit too, like here. Here. See, these yellow circles. So what you can do is, if you're already on a B here, you can like pre-shoot the thing or something, and apparently this is very good. Like you don't get the bee spawning immediately or something. I don't know. Honestly, watch another guy's commentary if you want to know how this boss works, because I don't. I don't know. I'm sorry. What I do is I try to hit some barrels after I do this I heal this AoE, and then I just go take care of some barrels, and this is a very confusing fight to me. I'm gonna be honest. Probably a Dreadnought's video out there explaining this a lot better than I do. I'm also a bit scared here because I have like I just don't know how much damage this thing here is doing, and I even remember from like just doing 10s or 12s that this just doesn't do a lot of damage, right? And if you ever get caught naked, or if you have a lot of bees like here and they spawn, I mean, when they spawn, they apply a dot on people, and this is basically where it goes to shit. Like they have a dot on them, and you get the ticks from the wind, and then they just kind of die, because your shields get eaten and stuff like that. So while it's not a terribly difficult fight to heal, oh yeah, here I fail with the bee because I drive into the lava because I want to get an angle off, and messy fight, honestly. You can play this a lot better. But the healing turns out to be not that difficult, which is good because I don't like this fight. And this wind is very frequent, so I'm just really focused on having shields out, and ooh, I have aggro there. Just executing my combo correctly and letting no one die. Because as you will find out, our timer is actually not that great. Sorry, that was my bottle. Don't know if you've heard that. Our timer is not too great, so we really can't afford any deaths here, any more deaths here. And we won't, but still. I'm sorry, you probably learned nothing about this fight with me, just knowing nothing about it. Whatever, sometimes I'm not omniscient, yeah. Although I should know about this fight actually, but whatever. I haven't done a lot of keys this season, you have to cut me some slack, I'm sorry. Okay, there's a few things happening here. I'm not sure if you do it here, but sometimes the tank snaps up a pull here, and it's gonna be a peg in the IPA room in the second boss that we did. Sometimes there's a peg left and you snap it up as soon as you pull the boss. I'm not sure if you do it here, but if that happens, sometimes you will be asked to mind control a mob and grip it, because sometimes the snapping doesn't work. Sometimes you will also be asked to grip the tank instead. Just be aware of that. And of course, you might know about the tech here to mind control a mob here. And what I do is I focus one of these mobs, the lowest one, which is Skull, and then I just MC it as soon as, I don't know, it hits like 20% or something. Yeah. And then we kill the next lowest mob, and because I have it MC'd, it doesn't get healed, and then I release it, melt, because as you know, these mobs like to chase you around for a while after you MC'd them. And then you're basically saving one heal from the mobs. Also, ideally, the ranges are a bit more in melee, so these mobs don't charge to Narnia, basically. Because your melee DPS will cry about it. And I will use an uppies here, knowing that we have 5 minutes left on the clock, and I think I don't need it. That's my thought process, and so I just push some damage with it. Could also use it here on the first AoE with a Piety. It's like a perfectly fine point to use it. But then I'll lose one uppies in total, looking at the timer here. So that's why I did it. And if you read chat, he's calling out for the barrel order. 2-1-1, meaning that you will first get like 2 debuffs and then just 1 and 1, I think. Let's see what he does here. So he basically turns the frontal to one side and kills barrels with it, and we get some stacks. And you don't have to clear anything here. I mean, you can, but you don't have to. Oh, and I'm actually kind of sleeping here. Like, see, as this blows up, and I'm thinking, oh, this is a small barrel, nothing will happen. But no, it's a small barrel, and there's a wave going to spawn out of here. So you have to fuck off from here and not stand there what I do. Like, if I died there, I'm not sure. Did we have a battle rest? Oh, we did. Okay, we still would have timed it, but this was like not good gameplay here. This was actually lucky that I survived, honestly. I'm not sure if the waves also come in the same direction every time. I think they do, like the cardinal direction of the room. It looks like it, right? And after the second debuffs go out, like here, I will paint up myself here because I'm actually not sure if this does initial damage, but I think it does, like a little bit at least. And then I start with a barrier and piety in this case, using my instant radiance immediately, and then just going to a reprimand with Shadow Fiend even. It's not a terribly long AoE, so like the one in Floodgate last boss is a lot longer, or the one at the second boss in Floodgate. Oh yeah, and I used Evenge as well. Yeah, and that's the whole fight actually. You can also use Master Spell, of course, to clear these debuffs here. You can also just do what I did here and dispel one and shield another. That is something that I like to do here. For the single dot or the double dot that you get after clearing the barrels, you don't really need to spend more than like a Radiance and a Penance. Okay, what am I doing here? Probably a Clairvoyance. Yeah. As you can see, it doesn't really matter too much if you do it offensively or defensively. If everyone is like the same HP, I just like to use it offensively, and if not, then I will do a defensive penance instead. Especially the first one, because I like to control where the Solace Shield is going. Again, here I dispel my Shaman. Oh, the tank is almost dying. Dispel the Shaman and just heal my DK, who will survive it on his own anyway. Same thing happening here. 2 times in a row. So as you can see, there's no logic there. You can get the debuff twice in a row. And here I have only Shadow Fiend apparently and an AMC. Oh yeah, the Insight. Okay, that's enough for sure. And I would even have Event ready here, but I don't need it. Oh, oh yeah. And I'm trying to be skillful with my Master Spell, and I Master Spell too early and hit no one in the process. Very bad. But as you saw, like, I have 2 charges of Pain Sub still. This is not too difficult, this fight, honestly. I was a bit more scared of it before that key, but looking back at it now, it's kind of easy almost. The most dangerous thing is when you have the 2 barrels exploding, like here, and then you get the debuffs here. And if you're not prepared for that, like you could die here easily, but you see our HP, like, I didn't do anything special, I just Radiance into a Penance, I had a shield on myself, I even missed my Master Spell, it doesn't matter. All in all, this dungeon is, other than, no, compared to like Floodgate, I like to say Floodgate because Floodgate is like a dungeon where there's multiple bosses where you want to have CDs planned out, because bosses will do a lot of damage every 90 seconds, for example, or something like between a minute and 90 seconds. But in this dungeon, there's a lot of smaller bursts happening. I think the one exception is the second boss, IPA, because that AoE hurts, but the wins from the third boss, from Benk Buzzbee, are not too difficult. Just have some shields up and do a Radiance Penance. It's kind of similar to the first boss in Mechagon. Like, I don't have a CD rotation here. I just kind of look at what I have and use it. And sometimes it's a bit more or less efficient. Like, it doesn't really matter that much. You don't have to optimize it. And on the first boss, of course, do not stand in these circles and use your pain subs, which I didn't because I didn't need to, but I definitely would in a 20. And then this dungeon is kind of easy. Of course, I think the difficult part of this dungeon here is not the bosses actually, it's the trash. And there are some dungeons like that. I feel like about half the dungeons are that way, where the trash is more difficult than the bosses. And then there's some dungeons where the bosses are much more difficult, like Floodgate, for example. A very difficult dungeon if you only look at the bosses, in my opinion. Yeah, Mechagon maybe. Mechagon is like the second boss area, for example, is very hard. I'm talking a lot about Mechagon today, even though this is a brewery meadery video. But yeah, just be aware of that. Some dungeons just have difficult bosses, some have difficult trash. I don't really think there's a dungeon that has both. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Keep in mind I'm also streaming at twitch.tv.nyap, whatever you want to call me. And see you until next time. Bye bye.